Welcome back to Trains Up North. In this episode we will be building an incline and laying some track. So as we're going to be laying some track, there's a few things that we need. So we've got our track plan here, which has been created in AnyRail and printed off on A4 paper. We've got our baseboard installed, and I've temporarily just put the track in place just to make sure that the layout actually works in practice. To make the incline, I'm going to be using the Incline set from Woodland Scenics, which is made out of polystyrene. Woodland Scenics make a 2, a 3 and a 4% incline. I've got the space, so I'm going for the 2% incline, which should give locos a little bit of an easier ride. Prior to gluing anything down, we need to ensure that the area is free from dust and dirt, so I'm just going to give it a quick once over with the vacuum cleaner. When I was constructing the baseboards, I attached them to the wall with brackets. This bracket was easier to put in above the baseboard rather than underneath. So what I've done is I've just put a little notch, cut a little notch out in the polystyrene just so it fits over the top. I'm using the piece of timber in the background just to ensure that the incline remains straight as I'm building it. I'm gluing the incline down with some Woodland Scenics foam tack glue. Using this glue is really simple. You just put it on the bottom, spread it out, and then once it's in place you've got about 15 minutes to work with it, and then after a couple of hours it's pretty much stuck in place. I've previously used cork, however I didn't really like cork underlay on the track, so the previous layout I didn't actually use any. After seeing this on other layouts, I have decided that foam does make the layout sound better, especially when it's on wooden baseboards. So it's a couple of hours later and the glue's gone off. So what I'm going to do is get some of this foam by Woodland Scenics and just glue this into place on the incline, which is going to form the basis of the track bed. I will show you later on in this video the same product from DCC Concepts. Both products are really good and they both come in 5mm thickness, so you can glue them next to each other with no issues. As you can see, the foam comes in a roll. It's got a nice profile to it, which just helps when you're building the ballast shoulder later on the layout. On the back it has a line down the middle. This is a really good feature of both the DCC Concepts and the Woodland Scenics foam. What you do is when you get to a curve, you cut down the middle of that and then you just ease it round, and it just goes round the corners a little bit better. So if you don't have any foam tack glue, don't worry, you can use Copydex or PVA. I've never tried super glue, but I'm going to be honest with you, I can't see why it won't work. So if you have used it, please let me know in the comments below. If you're going to use plastic glue, please be careful. They can eat away at polystyrene and foam, so always test on a little bit that you're not worried about first. There's nothing worse than watching the glue eat away at something that you've just spent good money on. Speaking of money, when it comes to PVA, I've found that a local DIY store is often up to 50% cheaper than buying it at a craft store. So once we've glued the foam in place, what we need to do is just put some weight on it. You need to make sure that the weight's evenly distributed, because things like paint tins will mark the foam. So if you put track down first, or a piece of wood, and then put your weights on top of it, that works absolutely great. What I'm going to do is put the set of points in place. So then what we do is get our piece of foam and lay it down, and I'm going to lightly just press on the foam. What that does, it just marks the underneath, and then I know where to cut line on it just with a pencil, and then it's really easy to cut. A pair of kitchen scissors, and we'll just cut it like that. Put the foam back under, and then obviously this foam's too big, so what I'm going to do is trim this off down there. If you get something with a straight edge, in this case track setter, straight, and again clutch pencil, just going to mark it. It doesn't affect the foam on the other side, so I'm just going to leave it a little bit too big. It doesn't matter, it's going to be covered in ballast and vegetation. So we've got our line, and again we're just going to cut it, turn it over, and move that piece, put that to one side for later. Then we'll get our foam tack glue. This tub's nearly empty, so I'm just taking the lid off. As you can see, I don't like wasting things. Going to be laying a piece of track along here, which will form part of the track for the main station. So there's going to be track, and then there's going to be platforms either side. There's going to be other lines coming towards the right of the screen. This is from DCC Concepts. It's 5mm, and it comes in lengths of about 60 centimetres or just under 2 foot. As my incline's only 2%, I shouldn't have many issues with the majority of locos, even with quite long trains. However, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some DCC Concepts power base in. The DCC Concepts power base is stainless steel pieces, and then what you do is you put magnets attached to the underneath of your train. So then the magnets that are attached to the train are attracted to the steel, and it just has the effect of giving the trains more traction as they go up the incline. Like I said, shouldn't have too many issues, and if I do this, it's belt and braces. You can install the power base underneath the foam. However, if you do that, it's less efficient because there's more distance between the steel and the magnets. As you can see, when they're new, the power base is nice and shiny, and they come with some blue plastic protection on them. However, it's quite acceptable to reuse them. I've reused them several times from different layouts. So if you want to save money, yeah, reuse. The design of the power base pieces is really quite clever. They butt up really close to each other, and due to the way they're shaped, they can go round some really tight curves. Tighter than anything you'd actually want on a model railway. To install the power base, it's simply a case of putting a bit of glue on the back and putting them in place. Once you've done that, if you just put a bit of weight on them for a little bit, just until the glue's set. Once the glue's set, remove the blue plastic protection and you're ready to lay your track. What you'll notice with the power base is there's little holes cut in them. That just allows you to put droppers through so that you don't have to drill through the power base. I'm using the Foam Tech glue to hold the power base in place. You can use Copydex, or you can use PVA or even super glue. The choice is entirely up to you. So here I'm going to put in this very short curved piece of track, which is going to go here. So we're going to lay this piece of track. I've already put the foam underlay in. As you can probably tell, it's a couple of different pieces patched together. I've drilled a hole for the cables, well, 2 holes. So what I'm going to do is start off, turn the piece of track over. I have tested it for continuity on the electrics, so I know that it will work. And I'm just going to put some Copydex, in this instance, on the underneath of the track. So I'm going to, once this Copydex is on the underside of the track, I'm going to position the track in place. So I thread the wires through. The reason I've got the fish plate with the red wire soldered to it is purely because that's the fish plate I picked up when I was getting this track ready. So we just offer the fish plates in at a slight angle and then push them down, and then rub your finger on the top of the rail just to make sure it's nice and smooth. Now the track's in, we'll just get something, it's got a little bit of weight in it, put it down. One thing that I will mention when using Copydex is it is rubber based, so if you do have rubber allergy, just take precautions around the use of it. It does say on the Copydex instructions that on non-porous surfaces such as plastics, metals and corks, fabrics and carpets, apply sparingly and evenly to each surface that you're going to bond, and allow the adhesive to dry so that it becomes touch dry in about 15-20 minutes, then bring them together firmly. I don't do that because that doesn't work for me when I'm laying track, but I thought I'd point out what the instructions actually say. So for me, I just put it on the sleepers and then put it straight down and then put some weights on it and then leave it normally overnight. That's all for today. If you want to learn how to improve your track, there should be a video here. If you like what you've seen, Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And until next time, goodbye.